What's up, addicts? Welcome to the Fantasy Addiction Network. Today we're going to be going over the Week 5 power rankings, but if you're new to the channel, again, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, be caught up to everything that's going on across our network, and let's get right into it. Alright guys, so this is definitely the most interesting week in terms of power rankings. There is a lot of shakeups right now across the league. There's really only two dominant teams at the top and everyone else is kind of all over the place. So let's go through where we see everyone headed into week 5 and give some explanation as to why. And we'll begin with team number 8, the Seattle Dragons. Seattle Dragons here, 1-3. Last week they were ranked number 6, so dropping 2 spots this week. I do think that BJ Daniels has a bit of work to do ahead of him to help fix this team, but I do believe that he does give them hope. There is some rumor that they might still be sticking with Brandon Silvers, which doesn't make any sense to me after the life that they saw when they threw BJ Daniels out there. Hopefully Jim Zorn will come to his senses and give BJ Daniels a full game. But they do play Houston this week in Houston, so they are likely to go 1-4. They've yet to play well for an entire game and really only show up for one half each week. They could be underrated, but like I said at the start of this video, there's a lot of parity between the teams ranked 3 through 8, so someone had to be ranked 8th, and for now, I think that goes to the Dragons. Jumping over to team number 7, we're looking at the DC Defenders. So the DC Defenders, 2-2. Last week they were number 4. Previous week to that, ranked number 1, dropping all the way to number 7 here. I'm doing this for their own good. Almost put them in number 8 considering their last 2 performances. They have another tough matchup this week. They do get to go home. The question is, can they put up a good fight versus a good team at home? If they can't, I mean, they could just be absolutely done for, losing 3 games in a row after starting 2-0. Their quarterback has been looking absolutely terrible. Cardale Jones seems like he's lost all of his confidence. This week is vital for their season. Their schedule still includes a game versus Houston, Dallas, if you include this week, 2 versus St. Louis, and 1 on the road to New York, and then Tampa Bay again. So it's not like their schedule ever really gets much easier for them. They need to get things fixed and quick, or they're going to be at the bottom of the barrel next week. All right, jump into team number 6, the Tampa Bay Vipers. So Tampa Bay is 1-3 now, finally got a win last week, and the past couple weeks they were ranked number 8, jumping up 2 spots here. They played the Roughnecks pretty tough in week 3, and they honestly could have won that game. They came out and absolutely spanked the Defenders, challenging the BattleHawks for the rushing title here with the 1-2 combo of Smith and Patrick is definitely working out well. Taylor Cornelius seems to be coming into his own. It's definitely helping this team find their identity. Defense has been playing pretty good. They give up some big plays through the air, but they've been playing against the run very, very well, and they've been keeping teams to low-scoring affairs most weeks, so definitely good enough to keep them going and good enough to put them at number 6 on the week. All right, jumping over to team number 5, the LA Wildcats. So LA is 1-3 now. Last week they were number 5. They didn't jump around. They did lose, but we didn't want to drop them because playing on the road, especially crossing all the way from the West Coast to the East Coast, is always difficult. They barely lost to New York. It doesn't help their cause, but they played admirably on the road when other teams have shown to perform very poorly when they travel. Josh Johnson is playing like a stud who just needs a fully healthy team around him. The loss of Martez Carter and Nelson Spruce didn't help matters. Defense is still playing well, but they're going to need to figure out their kicker situation after sending Novak to IR. Hopefully they can get that figured out, because they honestly probably would have won on Saturday had their field goal kicker been able to make any kicks. All right, jumping over to team number 4, the New York Guardians. And this team's been jumping around the ranks a bit. New York is now 2-2. Last week they were 7, so they're jumping up 3 spots again. It's amazing what a competent quarterback can do for a team. No, the Guardians aren't going to be pushing the envelope each week, but Luis Perez has shown to give this team the stability it needs for success. Owens and Rotimi are killing it on the D-line, and they still have a ball-hawking secondary. And the combo of a strong defense, competent quarterback play by Perez, and the emergence of a power run game of Darius Victor should give this team plenty of steam to pick up that second playoff spot in the East. We'll see how they do this week going up to Dallas, but they are looking to be strong contenders for that second playoff spot. All right, jumping over to team number 3, the Dallas Renegades. So Dallas is now 2-2 after losing to the best team in the league, Houston. Last week we had them ranked number 2, so losing 1 spot here. Landry Jones re-injuring his knee will likely hurt this team, but I guess that jury's still out. They were pretty much winning in spite of him, not because of him. He threw more interceptions than any other quarterback in the league. So maybe Philip Nelson can actually help keep things together and maybe even play better than Landry Jones. We'll see how that turns out in the next couple weeks. Landry Jones out for at least 2 weeks, probably longer. We'll see how long it takes for him to come back. Now, their defense has been playing well, and they shut down Cam Phillips last week, which is pretty impressive. If their offense can do just enough, they should be able to compete for that second spot in the West and keep winning some games. Hopefully, they can get their first win at home this week versus New York. All right, jumping to team number 2, the St. Louis BattleHawks. St. Louis now 3-1. Last week they were number 3, jumping up one more spot here. I want to make the argument that this team has only beat up on weaker teams, but it appears that outside of Houston, every team is a weaker team compared to St. Louis. Jordan Ta'amu continues to impress through the air and on the ground. Everything is clicking for this team. They just need to avoid turning complacent and letting games slip away from them. Was a little disappointed to see how they handled the end of the first half against Seattle. They could have pressed the envelope and tried to score more, but they played conservative. That might come back to bite them later in the season. And Jordan Ta'amu needs to learn to slide and not take as many hits, because eventually that's going to come back to bite him. But overall, not too much to point out negatively about this team. They are surging. All right, and then jumping to team number 1, of course, the Houston Roughnecks. Houston improved to 4-0. Last week they were ranked number 1. They stay here. The question now is, will anyone actually beat this team? They've only won by 1 possession in the last 3 games, but they've still been incredibly impressive on offense, and now their defense is also stepping up their game. Looking ahead to their schedule, it's becoming harder to identify a team that will end their streak. So obviously that puts them at number 1 if the projections show that they could very easily go 10-0. Anyone that bet the over on their win total, it has to be ecstatic right now just because of how well they're playing. Philip Walker still playing strong, looking for that MVP in this inaugural season. So we'll see if anyone can stop Houston, but it's looking like they're going to have a home field advantage for the championship game, which is being hosted in Houston. All right, guys, that's pretty much it. Going to be very interesting to see this week. I don't think Seattle has much of a chance at taking down the Roughnecks, but we'll see how DC can respond playing against St. Louis at home. We'll see how Dallas can respond after the loss of Landry Jones at home playing the New York Guardians, who are now back on the upswing, and we'll get to see who is the better 1-3 team between the Wildcats and the Vipers. I think both of those teams are a little better than their record shows, but we'll see which one comes out on top this week. Going to be a good one. Make sure you check out all the games. If you guys don't have a chance to watch them, check out my channel. I actually have condensed game footage for you guys as well. If you only have 20 minutes to watch the game, we cut out all the fluff, so that's definitely something that we've been getting a lot of positive vibes from. So make sure you check that out. Check out my website for fantasy information, rankings, stats, everything you need to be able to manage your fantasy team. And that's pretty much it. Hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.